all you terrific tapeworms and earthworms. It's Nina, your bookworm. Just kidding. Sorry, we are on a Tiger King kick, so I just really was feeling Carol for a second, but no, it is Nina, your bookworm, and I am going to finish my review. The book that Reese picked for March was The Jetsetters, a novel by Amanda Eyre Ward. It was a book about a woman who is a 70 and won a cruise and decided to take her 3 children on the cruise in hopes of her family regaining a closeness that they had lost along the years. And it kind of is her story along with the story of each of her kiddos and their relationships with each other and people in their lives. So it was a very good book. Like I said in my last review, I think it's really important to note that it isn't, when you start reading the book, it kind of feels like it should be like light and airy and like a book about a cruise and a family. And if I have any This Is Us fans out there, kind of like, oh, we're just gonna really get to see that. But it is deeper than that. There's tragedy that they've gone through, there's trauma, and there's the differences of relationships that the characters had with their parents and then with each other. And so there's just a lot of baggage to unpack. And I think that that makes the book a lot of a deeper read and makes the characters a lot more approachable and even likable. So it does go into just a lot of facets that maybe adults face in life. So it talks about you know, sexuality and being comfortable in that, and a family's acceptance of someone being homosexual. And I think that that's a really interesting topic, and the way that they dug into that topic was very interesting and also done in a really realistic and relatable way. There's the story of a woman who's kind of lost herself in a marriage and being a parent, and falls into that typical like mom role where she kind of has sacrificed herself or kept herself on the back burner, which is also super relatable and also very realistic. Another character is, she is, you know, going through a breakup. She's trying to reach a goal that has been very unattainable for her. She isn't a mom and she is single and she's not doing very well financially, and just the baggage of feeling like she's a certain spot in her life but yet hasn't reached those levels that she really saw for herself. And so again, like realistic and relatable. And then last, there is a woman who is 70, who is a widow and who's losing friends, whose friends, you know, are passing away. And she has always kind of looked towards a norm, a societal norm. They're a Southern family of what a family should look like, what a woman should be, and what a Catholic woman should be, and how her kids should present themselves. And so her struggle with that internal struggle of fitting in where society has placed her and where she's put a lot of pressure on herself, but also self-discovery. So here she is, and she's 70, and she's just starting to kind of figure out who she is and what makes her happy. And also just her struggle with aging and her struggle with coming to terms with who she was as a beautiful young woman and then her worth as an older woman. So I think that's all very interesting. The book takes you through their cruise, and through their cruise there's many different obstacles that they face. And it's not like a silly obstacle like, oh, they lost their luggage. I mean, it's big things like the loss of a marriage or an unhappy partner, suicidal thoughts, depression, alcoholism, self-hate, self-doubt, all those things that I think people have dealt with, have struggled with, myself included. You know, not all of those things are things that I've had to deal with, but many are, and some are, and so it allowed me to kind of see someone else's journey through that and relate to that. The book was well written. It was, I think, The positives are it was well written. It was realistic and descriptive. Even in the ending, I felt the ending was realistic. It wasn't something that's like, oh, this would never happen. The downfalls. So I always feel bad saying any negatives, but the negatives for me were that some of the humor or lightheartedness in the way the book was written, the tone switched a lot. Oh, this guy's an alcoholic, so like how can we make that like kind of funny and light? So there were some details that I think could have been included with the characters' internal struggles and then their struggles with each other that were just somewhat dusted over, somewhat touched on, and they didn't go deep enough. Details were left out that could have made the story a little bit more impactful, a little deeper. And so I think that was the biggest drawback for me, is it felt very surface. And then there was times where it was like super deep and then it was like, oh, let's get back on the surface. So it was kind of a switch between both. I read the book fairly quickly, not as quickly as I normally do. So it caught me in certain ways, but didn't catch me enough where I was staying up all night reading it. To me, those are the best books, the books that I can't put down. When the book was over, I typically will mourn characters. So it's like, no, I can't, I need more. And I didn't feel that way with this book. Now, the characters were relatable and their struggles were relatable. And I definitely have known characters very similar to these people. And again, some of their characteristics were similar to those that I have. I could relate to each character in a different way, but they weren't relatable enough where they became a friend to me and that I was grieving them when the book was over. And to me, that's a weakness. Like, most books, when I'm done, I'm like, I need a sequel, I need more, I need this person in my life, and I didn't feel that way. And so I feel like because it was just kind of like a surface level, it didn't dive deep enough to me where I became attached. And so that was a huge weakness to me. Would I recommend this book? Absolutely. It wasn't a bad book. It was fairly well written. It was fun. It had great dynamics. It had characters that you wanted to learn more about. There was an air of mystery. All great things. There was some humor, and again, it was relatable, but would I give it a 5 out of 5? No. Is it a book that I would read again? No. If there was a sequel to it, would I want to read it? That's a maybe. It's not even a definite. So that to me shows that I wasn't 100% committed or connected to the book. That's my honest review. I don't always like saying the negatives, but that was my honest review. So let me know what you guys think. Like, get in the comments, tell me if you agree, if you disagree. I'm not saying Reese picked a bad book, she didn't. It was a decent book, and I think that some people probably would really have seen it in a different light than I did. Just my personal taste, it wasn't the top one, and that's okay. It didn't stop me from reading her April book. So Reese's April book is called Untamed by Glennon Doyle. I just purchased it last night, so when I finish the book that I'm currently reading, I will start it, and then I will try to do, or I will do a halfway point-ish of what I'm thinking, and then I'll finish it up kind of like I did with this one. If I start getting more people who are like interested and wanting to hear more about it, we can do like a weekly book club and discuss it, and I can post questions and answer. But until like I kind of see a little bit more involvement, I'm not going to bore people with it if they don't want to hear it. I'm kind of just like learning this whole BookTube stuff. I know there's like lingo and like code words or whatever they are. I don't know them, so bear with me. I'm doing it my own way. Maybe I'm not like a true booktuber. I like books and I'm making videos. I'm calling myself a booktuber, so love it or leave it. But yeah, so Reese Witherspoon, Untamed, Glennon Doyle. I think it's a different type of book from what I've read. It's a memoir, and I'm just really excited to read it. It says it's going to discuss what it means to be a woman today. So great time to be introspective while we're all at home. Go out and get your copy, and we can kind of read it together. Comment below if you're going to plan on reading this book and what you thought about the Jetsetters. Let me know. Was it a book that you loved or you hated or what? Tell me. Let's talk. And thank you so much for following along on this journey. I will be back soon to discuss the April book of the month for Reese's Book Club. Bye guys, have a great day.